What's going on, people? Welcome to another episode of the Off the Ball podcast with me, your host, Chris LeBron. And on today's show, I have a special guest on the show today. Someone I've really loved the work he's been doing with the YouTube channel and all the content he provides. So happy to have him on. I got Robel from Sub Me and Coach on YouTube. What's going on, Robel?
It's good, man. I'm glad to be here.
Yes. Like I said, happy to have you on the show. You do a lot of great stuff. So I was really looking forward to doing this show with you. So, before we get started with all the good stuff, just tell me a little bit about yourself and how when did your love for basketball start and just a little bit about everything, how you got the YouTube channel started and all that stuff.
So I didn't really get into basketball until I was around 12. I was in a McDonald's line. I always tell this story. I was in a McDonald's line, and then I looked on the TV, and it was like the Celtics were playing the Miami Heat, and then Rondo threw it off Dwayne Wade's back, off an inbound play, and then he scored. And I'm like, oh, there's you can do this in basketball. Like crazy stuff like this happens. Like I don't think people understand how creative basketball is compared to other sports. I was like a big soccer fan before that, and it's not as creative as basketball. So I was like. So these dribble moves and all that stuff, they're like encouraged rather than looked at as like always fancy or whatever. So I was just like, yo, that's so like I need to get into the sport. So then ever since then I've been getting to basketball. So yeah, that's how I got into it. And um I started making content how long ago? Like a year ago, maybe like a year and like 3 months.
Oh, really? Okay. That's
Yeah.
soon.
Yeah, and like I just wanted to make a YouTube channel because honestly, I'm not that good of a writer.
Yeah, I know.
So I was just like,
I know this. I'm the same way too. Like I
yeah,
do all the podcasts and all that stuff, but writing is still
yeah,
something I'm working on.
yeah. Like I mean, like I just need. I feel like I'm okay, but just not to the level where I'm like a special one, right?
Yeah.
So like differentiate yourself, and I just felt like not everyone has a YouTube channel, and I feel like I could do that. So when I get into these interviews, I'm trying to work in basketball. Not many people could say that they have a YouTube channel, and
Yeah.
especially a successful one where they can make money out of it. So
Yeah.
that's
That's
why
that's yep.
that was like my main motivation, and I just started falling in love with it. Watch film, timestamp, editing. I do everything myself, so it's
Yeah,
like
yeah.
it's work, but I love it. So that's what I've been doing.
Yeah. I mean, it is work, but I'm sure, when you love something and you have passion about it, you could deal with the work, right? It's not as
Yeah,
much work as it would be if you completely hated what you were doing and it was just a drag. And then that's when it's work and it's like, oh God, I got to do this. But, I know working in the podcast and creating content, I know that, doing everything, solo, it's a lot of work to do all that stuff for sure. So when was the first video where you started seeing some growth in your YouTube and you're like, okay, this is starting to go somewhere?
hmm. I don't think it's like that. I don't think my journey was like that. Um, it was very it was very slow but steady. So I wanted to build I don't want to have a video having 100,000 views and then my next video get like 500. I
Yeah.
didn't want it to be like that. I didn't want a video like that. So it's
Clickbait
like,
stuff. You didn't want a clickbait stuff,
yeah, yeah,
clickbait
yeah,
video. Yeah.
yeah. So it's like I just wanted to slowly build and have an audience. So I feel like that worked for me. And so I used to aim for 100 views every single time, or else the video is just bad,
Hmm.
And then I would get to 200 views, and then it was 400 views, and then I was like around. Sometimes I get 200, sometimes I get 500, and then slowly it was get like when the draft really started happening. I was
Hmm.
making videos about the draft and high school players like Kate Cunningham, Jalen Green. I was getting like 1,000. So I started getting now I'm getting 1,000 every single video that I post.
Yeah.
And it's like that's crazy to me because I used to always be like, man, I had like 50 videos out and none of them ever reached 1,000 views. So I was just like, I can't wait until I get 1,000 views.
Yeah.
So now I'm getting it like every single video that I post. It's crazy to me. So it's like it's like a steady like progress. Like I see the same people comment and stuff like that. I know the
Mhm.
people that subscribe to me watch all my videos, so I like it like that.
Yeah. So what did you see when you saw the growth of your viewership and your followers? What did you see as far as like what did you change as far as to get more people to watch? What was that change you saw you made that now you're getting a more, more views, more people following? What was that change you saw that made everything start to pop?
I tried like a million different things. Like I tried like different series. I was showing my face at one point. I was doing like rankings, quizzes, all that stuff. Like, I was doing everything
Yeah,
like
yeah.
just to see what do I like and what do the people like, and what
Hmm.
works, what do I like to make. And it's just like these analysis videos just been doing very well, and this it's caught people's attention on Twitter.
Yes, that's
And
for sure. Yeah, I see that a lot.
yeah, like when I used to post my tweets, I mean, like the tweet of the snippet, I would get like 5 likes, and I'm like, okay, like people are watching.
Hmm.
And then I remember I posted the Devin Vassell video, and I didn't think it would actually get a lot of views because you know Devin Vassell's not seen as like a super exciting player. It's like
Yeah.
looked at as a 3-and-D wing, whatever. And I looked at it, and it was just like it had like 15K views on the snippet, and there was like 400 likes, and I'm just like, what the hell is happening? Like
That's
then I
crazy.
realized like yeah, like when it's like a chain reaction, I guess, when a lot of people like it and they see, oh, so what is this about? Why are a lot of people liking
Yeah,
this?
yeah, yeah, man.
So it's like yeah, it's slowly been happening like that. So then you know um yeah, that's literally how it's been going.
Yeah, I know because I've done like a few snippet videos on Twitter where you get like a few views, but then there's a video or two that you make, or and it goes crazy. I remember I made I had clipped a video of Gilbert Arenas talking about certain guys being better in the pros than they'd be in college. That got like almost like 110K views, and it's crazy how like one person looks and then just spreads and spreads and spreads. And I've seen that a lot with your stuff too, where it just keeps spreading and spreading, and you're getting 10K 15K views on these videos, and that's just good. And it shows people like the content you're creating and all that, and then it shows in your YouTube videos and all that too. So I mean, that's kudos to you for understanding your audience and knowing what works, and keep trying, right? You just got to keep trying. How many people probably would have gave up after like they saw they put all the work into a video and they get 100 views and they're just like, all right, this isn't for me. You kept going, which is kudos to you for keep going.
Yeah, like the mindset was never me. Like I never wanted to quit ever.
Yeah.
Like never even thought of it. When I got a bad video, I was just like, okay, that was a bad video. Next one's gonna be better. That's how I
Exactly.
looked at
Yeah,
it. It's
yeah.
not like I wouldn't get like really mad about it or whatever. I was I was obsessed with trying to improve my videos. I was watching every day like how to edit, how to tag your videos properly. Like I was
Hmm.
obsessed with trying to be like the best. So it's
Yeah,
like
yeah.
now I feel like pretty comfortable with my content. Um, I don't want to say that I'm cocky or anything, but I am confident when I produce, and I think my stuff's good. So it's like, but I'm still always looking for ways to try to improve. I mean, with scouting in general, it's like you have to experience get you better too. So
Exactly. Of course. That's major in this. But you're from Canada, right? So talk to me about, the basketball scene out there, because it's kind of blown up, especially of late, where there's a lot of good hoopers who have come out of Canada and are merging in the league. So talk to me about the basketball scene in Canada.
yeah, it's yeah, like you said, it's been blowing up. I thought it was gonna happen earlier because I remember there was the CIA bounce thing,
Hmm.
and I think they went to the EYBL and just dominated everyone, and everyone's like, "Who's this Canadian team?" It was the Andrew Wiggins. Who else was there? I don't remember everyone on that team, but yeah, well, it was Andrew Wiggins was on it, and it was just a bunch of other guys that went to the NBA, and everyone was like, "Oh, like CIA
Tristan
bounces."
Thompson was on there? Was Thompson?
I don't know. Maybe Corey Joseph was there, I
Corey
think.
Joseph, yeah,
Yeah, and then Xavier Rayton Mays, who he was on the Knicks for a 10-day at one point.
yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I
Yeah,
remember that
so
name.
yeah, just guys like that. Yeah, but they dominated. So everyone said, "Yo, CIA bounces next," and that unfortunately like didn't work out. Yeah, and then now, but I've been seeing a lot of guards come out and really come, like make it to the NBA and
Okay.
stuff like that. but it's not really anything like you could find like everyone has the same style
Yeah,
because Canada's still big. Like no one's really from Toronto. Like RJ's from like Saga, you know, like Mississauga, sorry. Um, and then Shay's from Hamilton. Like
yeah, yeah,
they like if they didn't play basketball, they wouldn't know each other, you
yeah.
know? So it's like they're all from these like rural cities, like the suburbs.
Hmm.
So it's like they don't all have like the same style. Not every like you can see like when you look at all the Canadian players, they don't all play the same.
No, they
They
gotta
have
play
like their
different.
unique style, right?
Hmm.
So it's like I wish they had all had like a unique style that we could all say, oh, like you could tell he's from like I don't know, guess from Toronto or something like that.
Yeah.
But I guess like you being unique and everyone bringing their own flavor is like is fun and like brings like diversity and stuff.
Oh, nice. Yeah, because like I said, I've talked to a few guys from, it's a few draft picks who are from Canada, and they just talk about the explosion. Like it's just really taken off. You see guys like Jamal Murray, he came out and he had a tremendous, bubble and all that, and just like RJ Barrett, hopefully he takes that next step, this upcoming year with the Knicks and all that. So you just see the abundance of talent that's coming out, and it's just crazy. And how do you feel about the national team? And it seems like they're getting buzz too. Like they might do some stuff once we get to the Olympics next year.
Yeah, I still think like it's a little bit early because I mean the problem with the Canadian like uprising is like I said, it's a lot of guards,
Yeah.
no wings, and we need wings, right? Like Andrew Wiggins like the only like wing, him and then Dylan Brooks, I guess. Like those are the only wing size players
Hmm.
that can on the Canadian national team that could play. Everyone else like guards, and then Brandon Clark, like Tristan Thompson. Those are like big. So it's like
Yeah.
we need wings. But then there's like Elijah Fisher. He's in I think he's a sophomore. That coming this year, he's in Bronny's class, and then there's Caleb Houston, who's going to be a senior this year. And yeah, like those guys are like both 6'7", 6'8", and you'd hope that they get good enough to be those starting wings. Because Wiggins actually doesn't want to really play for Team Canada. He wanted to be confiscated before, so it's like I don't know if he's gonna change his mind.
Hmm. Oh, that's
It's
crazy.
like
That's
yeah.
crazy. All right. So, we got the draft that's coming up finally. It feels like it's been, 12 years, this whole draft process, right? It's the longest draft process we've ever gone through. And you've done videos, obviously with, scouting some of these guys. So just talk about the process of, you've had where we're going to go on 8 months, for a lot of these, for a lot of these teams, these guys who haven't played in 8 months, since March, so just talk to me about the evaluating these guys and having so much time to evaluate these guys. I'm sure you're probably sick of it, and you're just ready to get on to the next, get ready for the season and get ready to look at the next year's crop of guys. So just talk to me about the process of evaluating these guys, and are you done, finally evaluating all these guys?
Um, I mean, just for like regular scouting, just like, I mean, I don't watch like 8 games of everyone. I just didn't have the time this year. I will do it next year,
Yeah,
but I usually watch like 2 or 3 of every like prospect, so I have like a general opinion
yeah,
that could
yeah.
answer questions. For that, I'm done. But like the videos, I still have to do the Tyrese Halliburton one, and then I'll probably just end it there. Like that's my last one. But yeah, I mean, hopefully we can be done and just get started already. Um, I was always thinking about like, man, what if like a prospect just develops this skill out of nowhere and then he like shoots, he becomes like like what if like Josh Green becomes like a super good shooter or something like that?
Yeah, yeah.
And I'm just like, I feel like there's gonna be like a lot of unexpected things happening.
Agreed.
But
Agreed on
then,
that.
but then I would say like it's not something like people could look back at your work and be like, man, you were so wrong. But then I could say like it's been whole 8 months. He just learned that through the 8 months. He didn't show that in the film in college,
Yeah,
so
yeah, yeah.
I could say that. So I could still feel confident about that. So, but yeah, that is a little bit like weird because it's like it just never happened before. So are these guys gonna show like new skills or whatever,
Yeah, yeah.
or just be more NBA ready?
Yeah, because I've seen, if you see like on YouTube and all these places where you could find like, breakdowns of players. You see breakdowns from like 8 months ago where people thought, all right, it's only going to be a few months to the draft. And it's like, oh, things may have changed. They may have changed their whole game, and that, or they may have gotten better in an aspect, because it's 8 months. If you haven't gotten better, that's an issue, right?
Yeah.
So it's like, things could change, and that's almost a year. This is the longest probably a lot of guys have gone without playing competitive basketball, right? This is the longest, like, so it's, a lot of things could change. So I'm sure when you've done videos, you're probably like, wow, I mean, a lot of things have changed from the last time I did that video till now. You get new information. We're seeing a little bit more workout stuff. We're seeing a lot of workout videos, combine stuff. So, some stuff we didn't get, months ago. No, we just got all this intel and all this stuff recently. So it's been crazy. It's been a crazy year, right? To say the least. And then like, and the NBA season, with the cancel, postponing, and then we're going to get the draft, and then free agency starts like a couple of days after that. And then, these guys are not going to have much time to get acclimated. There's no, summer league, most likely. You're just going to get right into it. So that's going to be a tough adjustment for these guys, getting accustomed to the NBA style, because it's going to go right into it. There's no waiting. It's going to go right into it. So that's going to be crazy for a lot of these guys for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's crazy, man. So who are some of your just give me a few of your favorite prospects in this class that you've been evaluating?
Number one's LaMelo Ball. It's probably my favorite one. I just like people that just do crazy things on the court. But like
that's he does.
The audacity, right? It's like, I mean, like I told you how I got into basketball, someone doing something crazy. It's I like naturally just draw to that. I mean, I just love creativity and just people that, make exciting plays and that are functional. People don't understand that his like one arm no look passes actually like help the team. Mm-hmm. He just doesn't do it for fun. He actually manipulates the tag man, right? Like he manipulates the defense by doing that. People don't understand that. So it's like he's functionally making the game fun, and that's just amazing. Another guy I would say is, let me think. I really like Jaden McDaniels. I haven't made a video about him, but I just have. I mean, I would just want him to fall to 29. I don't know if you will, but that's just a dream scenario if he falls to 29. I think he would be great in the Raptors with that development system.
That would be and I've talked about that a lot with a lot of guys. Jaden McDaniels, he's one of the top 5 most talented players in the draft. Just if we're just talking about pure talent, I mean, he was one of the top guys coming out of high school. And like, if he goes to a program like Toronto or Boston or Denver, something like that, and they can maximize his potential, that's you can get a bang for your buck for that, especially in the later rounds. I mean, he could be a steal if he goes to one of those teams for sure.
Yeah. And then I like Pokusevski a lot too. Like I have Pokusevski in my top 10 for sure.
So you like the upside guys. You like the guys who have the high upside, which is and I've talked about this a lot too also. It's like if there's a draft where you should take a risk, it's this draft, right? Because there's so much uncertainty, right? We don't know who's going to go where. We really don't, right? We're hearing stuff, but we all know it's smokescreen season, right? We're going to hear a lot of stuff that's not through. So, to throw teams off. But if there's a draft where you take a chance on a Poku and a McDaniels and a LaMelo and a couple other guys, this is the draft to do it, right?
Yeah. I mean, you're right. I mean, I just would Poku's like I said with LaMelo, it's like kind of the same thing. Like, why would you do these things? Like, these low look passes and stuff like
freaky,
that.
He's freaky, man. He's talented, man.
But like I say with these high upside guys, this has been said before. It's not a new idea, but these guys have like higher floors than you think. So I think like with Poku, especially his floor is kind of underrated. That's why I just think like there's no real like boom or bust thing. Boom or bust is more like with mentality than actual like skill.
Yeah.
Because it's like if you have so much skill and then you don't reach you reach like you don't reach your 100 percentile outcome, you reach like 50%, you're still like good because you had that much skill. Mm-hmm. Whereas like a role player that reaches their 100 percentile outcome is still gonna be a good role player, but still a role player. So it's like, people underrate these floors. Like when people say like LaMelo, going back to him, when they say he's boom or bust, I'm like, no, he's not. Because
Yeah.
even if he doesn't really like develop how to like score in the half court efficiently, he's still gonna be a starting like a starter. Like
Yeah.
the strength is gonna come from me, so that will just help him with a lot. And then I mean 6'8" and could pass like that. And I think his catch and shoot jumper is fine. Like I think he's a 5 shooter from catch and shoot. It's just the pull up that has to improve.
Yeah.
That's still a starting level player. Like no one's gonna put down the bench. So it's like I don't see why.
Exactly, right?
Yeah,
I don't
he's not
see
gonna
him
fall
being a
off the league.
bust where he's out of the league in
Yeah,
in 3 years, averaging 5 points a game, shooting 20%. I don't
yeah,
see that either.
yeah.
So
That's just I think that's just dumb. So and with Poku too, I think he has like definitely a place in the league, at least as a rotation player. And then with Jaden, Jaden's a little bit different because there's some like there's some concerns about his character, but I
Mhm.
kind of lean to those guys too because I understand where like they're coming from,
Mhm.
and I don't want to get too deep into it, but it's kind of like it's not the similar situation as Kevin Porter Jr., but I'm really I got drawn into Kevin Porter Jr. too because he got people are complaining about his character concerns,
Yeah.
right? But it's just you don't really know what's going on behind the scenes, so it's
Exactly
like
right.
you
Exactly.
don't know what these guys are going through, where these
And they're
guys are coming
young. We're
from.
talking about
Yeah,
kids. Like we're
yeah.
talking about 19-year-old kids at the end of the day, right?
Yeah,
The
and I feel like
young.
I could relate too, because it's
Yeah.
like I'm 20 now,
Yeah.
but like it's like I'm really close to their age, so it's like
Yeah. Yeah.
I understand what it was to be 19 and
Yeah.
just
Yeah. Yeah.
not growing, like not everyone like grows up in like the suburbs with like basketball handed to them and everything is good, like like
Exactly.
yeah, and that is gonna affect your character, so it's like I don't know what people don't need to judge what they don't understand. That's what I feel like. So it's like
I
that's like my main like that's why I just want Jaden to succeed so bad.
Yeah, I agree 100% because, I think we put too much on a lot of these kids and because they were, big time, 5-star players and all that. But like you said, we don't know what will go behind the scenes and we shouldn't judge people off that too, right? Because like I said, we're talking about a young kid. I know I'm older. I'm 31. So, but I know at 19 years old, my thought process wasn't this. I look back and like, okay, like stuff you would do, I was doing at 19, you're like, oh wow, like it's crazy. But talking about young, and then I could imagine being 19 and being, a basketball player, who's, you stand out, right? James Daniels was 6'10, he stands out. So it's like, just imagine having all that pressure and then, being a basketball player and trying to make it to the league. There's a lot of pressure with all that, so I feel like people, put too much on like the character issues. It's being a young person, right? I don't consider those things character, issues, right? It's part of growing, right? We got a lot of these kids to grow. I think we put too much pressure on them and want them to be stars right away, mature right away, right? But it takes time, right? It's gonna take time. But like I said, if they get into especially if Jada can get to a Toronto, like I said, we hope Toronto, Boston, one of those places where they can help groom him and maximize his potential, man, the sky's the limit for all three of those guys. Like they can all potentially all go to spots where they could flourish. So, and someone's going to get a 3 good players because all three of those guys could play. And like you said, the bust factor, I don't think any of those guys will be true bust. Like they may not be the maximize where we think they might, at their talent, but they're not going to be bust, right? That's silly when
Yeah.
people say that. So, who are some sleepers that not a lot of people are talking about that you like in this draft?
I mean, it depends what circle. Like, I think Draft Twitter likes this guy. It's Yamadar.
Yeah. That's
Like,
he reminds me of because New York. He's a new he plays like a New York City
yeah,
guard. Like he
yeah,
has
I
that
understand
feel.
that.
That's why I've been on him big time because he has that the handles, the way he plays defense. It gets in you. He's like an old school New York City point guard.
Yeah, no, I like that comparison actually. Like
Yeah,
that you said that, I can see that.
yeah.
Yeah, just I mean, first you hear about like you hear about his point of attack defense,
Mm-hmm.
and it was really good. And then I was just watching him on offense. I'm like, okay, he kind of has the handle, you know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
it's
Like,
kind of tight. It's kind of
yeah.
tight.
And
Yeah,
then
yeah.
he was running like PNR, and as he made like a no look bounce pass through like someone's legs, and I was like,
Yeah,
and like he was making like really good passes in the FIBA tournament when he was playing with Denny. I was like, okay, I like this kid a lot. Like, where
Yeah.
is he gonna get drafted? And then I saw him in like in the second round. I was just like, okay, like if
I
he
could definitely
falls
see
to
that. I
59
could definitely see that.
and you stash him for a year, like
Hmm.
Raptors should be all over that because I just feel like that's a guy that I mean, any team that would draft him, people automatically be drawn to him just his game, right?
Yeah.
Like it's just very fun to watch, and you just
Yeah.
someone that's you could easily root for. He does like the Pat Beverly stuff without overdoing it. You know
Without
what I mean?
the
Yeah,
antics and all
yeah,
that.
without
Yeah.
that. And then I think that's like the perfect. He's in the perfect. He's in that gray area of like loved or hated. I think
Yeah.
everyone would just love that type of stuff.
Yeah, he's
Except like
someone
the
that you're gonna
players.
love to beat your teammate, but you're gonna
Yeah,
hate that he's guarding you because he's just gonna
yeah,
be a pest. But like I
yeah,
said, he's not gonna have the antics of Pat Bev. But he's kind of that. Like he's got, like I said, that New York City pit bull style where he's just gonna get in you. He's gonna play you full court. He's gonna get in you. You know, he's gonna get physical with you. But he has, like I said, nice handle, great pick and roll play. So that's someone that's rolls up my boards too for sure. Who
yeah.
else you like?
Um, I mean, like when you say sleepers, everyone we've been doing this draft for so long that everyone already knows everyone, right? So when I say
Yeah.
like I like Grant Riller, it's like no, he's not a sleeper. Like
Yeah.
what I'm saying? Or like Isaiah Joe. It's like I like those guys, but they're not sleepers. Like a lot of people like those guys. Um, I mean, Najee Marshall's pretty good.
Yeah,
I like
that's
him at
so
the
good.
end of the second round. Um, Trent Forrest, I like a lot too. It's just with both of them, they have to like a team really has to fix their jumper for them to be like, real like real NBA players. And not a lot of teams could, change mechanics and stuff like that. So it's like that's what scares me. But if you could just fix both of their shooting, I think they'll be really good NBA players. So I like those two guys as like an if this can happen, like
Hmm.
if he shoots or like if he shoots threes, yeah, like they would be really good. I like
Yeah.
those two guys.
Okay. All right. So obviously you said you're from Toronto. Are you a Raptors fan?
Yeah.
Or okay, so you're a Raptors fan. So obviously, winning the championship is probably huge. Bringing a championship to Canada and to Toronto, I'm sure that was huge. But obviously, this year, there's some decisions to make, right? You got Fred VanVleet's a free agent, Ibaka, some decisions to make. So how do you think the Raptors should attack this offseason, starting with the draft? How should they attack the draft, and should they bring back Fred? Because Fred's gonna want command some big time dollars, and I've been a lot of rumors about him, with the Knicks. That's been a big rumor too, him coming to New York. But obviously, the money has changed this year with old COVID, and the salary cap is I'm sure the money he thought he was going to get, he might not get. So how do you think the Raptors should attack the draft and free agency?
I mean, with the draft, like whoever falls, like whatever high upside prospect falls, that's like that gotta be QB1.
Yeah.
And then like if a Jaden falls or like Leandro Bomaro or something like that, just draft that guy right away.
Yeah.
If not, I mean you look at even Theo Maladon if he falls to. You look at Isaiah Joe, I would like for him to get drafted. I like Xavier Tillman, Grant Riller, just those guys that like I feel like they fit in any team, but
Yeah.
I mean I would love them on the Raptors because we need, especially on the scoring side, I feel like Isaiah Joe would help a lot with
Oh yeah, he could shoot. He
with
could
his
score.
volume, right? Yeah. And like we sometimes have like what's it called? We have half court creation problems, and I don't think he's a creator, but he's someone that at least will be like a play finisher in the type in the sense that he's gonna take contested jumpers, and I like that. Grant Riller, he just bends defenses by just getting by everybody. I don't really gotta say too much about that.
Yeah.
And then Xavier Tillman's like
if Grant Riller drops to you guys,
yeah,
you guys gotta run to the Zoom podium and take him without even thinking about it. If he drops that far down, because he's a bucket.
Yeah, I've been saying that for like months now. Like if you can go back, say Robel Tussin, like if you search Robel Tussin Riller, it's just please take Riller, please take Riller. So it's like and then yeah, just I think I mentioned a bunch of guys. It's like those type of guys I would target high upside first, and then guys that would fix the half court creation problem second.
Yeah.
And then I gotta talk about free agency.
Should I bring back Fred? Do you think?
Yeah,
Fred should come
I'll
back?
bring back Fred just for the simple reasons. Like if he leaves, it's like, all right, who's your backup point guard?
Exactly.
Like,
Yeah, it's gonna
Patrick
create a big
McCaw is
hole.
our backup point guard.
Yeah.
And then like if you really want to look at it, it's like the third guard Stanley Johnson, who was actually bringing up the ball. Yeah, people don't know that he was actually the third point guard. So it's like,
That's rough.
who is it? Like, if Grant really doesn't fall, or Theo Maledon, if Maledon doesn't fall, like, who are we gonna groom to be the next point guard? So it's like, but obviously, I think Fed's a very good player too. So it's like I would just sign him to a reasonable deal. I would give him over 20 mil though, not more than like 23. I don't know. There has to be a point where it's just like, all right, if the Knicks give you 24, show us
That's
that
a
the Knicks
very
give you
Knicks-like thing
24.
to do for them,
Yeah.
to overpay him and give him 24 a year.
I would I would I would say that I would like Fred on the Knicks though. Um, Even if you overpay him, you do it for like 3 years. You're not gonna like go win. He helps a lot with like developing guys. Like RJ could play off the ball.
I think he would
Yeah,
RJ would benefit a lot from Fred.
yeah. So if you like overpay him, it's not gonna be like as big of a deal as people think because I mean like you're not ready to win yet. So it's like
Yeah,
the money doesn't really matter, right?
yeah.
That's what I mean. So it's like
If
I
it's a
just
1+1 for the Knicks, I would be all on board for that. If they do a 1-for-1, and see him how he does for the year and see how he grows with RJ, and then give him the option, give him a play, give him a team option and see how he does, because I'm sure, like I said, he's going to look at free agency and the money might not be there the way, he thought before everything happened, right? Because I think everyone assumed is right before everything happened, he was balling, he had a great playoffs last year, winning the championship, he was going to get $100 million plus, right? He was going to get that big payday. He may want to wait a year, maybe just sign a 1 year, and just wait till next year where the salary cap might go back up and we might get back to some type of normality in the world. And you could get a better see of how free agency goes with the increase in cap. So that's how I think he should approach it. But who knows? He might just want to say, hey, let's just get that money and let's just go with it. So it's gonna be interesting to see what he does in the offseason.
Yeah, and you never know. Like, financial security is probably very important to these NBA players. So
Yeah,
he might be like, I need a
undrafted
3 year.
guy, right?
Yeah,
Undrafted
he's like,
too.
I need a 3 year. Like, it's my time. I need
Yeah,
to take care of my family. Like, he has 2 kids. He has
yeah,
he has
of
to do that,
course,
right? So it's like, injuries could always happen.
exactly.
Hopefully it doesn't. But I mean, yeah, moving on, Ibaka, yeah, I would just resign everyone. I'm not like the biggest Ibaka fan. Like, I wouldn't be like, shocked. I mean, I wouldn't be like devastated if he left, but I would resign him. And then Mark, I mean, we all heard like the rumors that he's going to Barcelona. It wasn't
Yeah.
finalized, but I would resign him back just to be the backup. And then I would sign another big man if Ibaka doesn't sign.
Mm-hmm.
But I would like, yeah, I don't think Ibaka's like scoring production is like needs to be replaced. Like I feel like that usage could go to the wings and the guards and Pascal. Um, so it's like his 16 points per game is like not as valuable to me as this other people. So I don't think he's like a big loss if we like we could just sign a rim running big and then we wouldn't lose that much of a we wouldn't skip that much of a beat.
Yeah, yeah. So how do you like the future of this team, going forward with, you got a little bit of an older team, but, you got OG who kind of played well in the bubble and Siakam, he had his struggles in the bubble too, but obviously he emerged, big time, he was an all-star starter this year. So, how do you like the outlook, going forward with this team for the next, couple of years?
I mean, it depends. Like, I mean, the goal is Giannis 2021, but if that doesn't happen, it's like, I don't know.
What's the
It's like
percentages right now? What would you
me,
say
I'd say,
percentage? High?
yeah, I'd say it's pretty high.
Like how like are you like do
Like
you think you're the favorites? Because I know you got Dallas,
75. I think
Miami.
75. Yeah, because
Ooh. All right, so
okay,
give
well,
me
I mean,
reasons. I need to know. I need to hear
okay.
reasons why you feel
Okay.
like.
All right, I'll tell you my pitch. I don't think people know like the connection between Giannis and Masai, but there's a pretty big one. So Masai gave got Giannis a passport to go to the States in the first place.
Okay.
Um,
I didn't know
and-
that. No.
yeah, so they definitely have that connection. They still are very close. So the pitch would basically be Masai starting an African basketball league. Like this is real. I'm not just making this up.
Oh, I heard about that. Yeah, I know
Yeah.
about that.
So and he's like, Giannis, I'm starting this basketball African league. I know you want to get more into your Nigerian roots. How about you become the face of this league with Pascal Siakam, and then you join Toronto, and we could do that. We could do more than just winning championships in Toronto. We can do that, and then with that publicity, we can grow the African basketball, like era. And yeah, I just feel like it's a great fit. I would play Giannis at the 5, because I just think he's a 5. Like that's what I just think.
Yeah, in modern day, he's
Yeah,
built like a 5 too, and like
yeah,
he eats down low, so he should be
yeah.
playing more 5 for sure.
And like even if he doesn't want to do it like regular season, I would still close with him as a 5. I think he'll just say, yeah, like I love basketball. Like I mean, I
Yeah.
just want to win. I'll just close it as the 5. I would still do that. I think Siakam is gonna get better as a shooter.
Mm-hmm.
So he can play the 3 easily. Um, yeah, just the roster. It's like you basically tell him we don't need like big draft picks or like big free agent signings to get productive players. We can get Fred VanVleet. We can get. I mean, I would say Terrence Davis, but I don't want to say anything good about him because he did have a domestic violence case.
Yeah, yeah,
But
yeah.
I mean, he who shall not be named also had a decent rookie year, I guess. And then just a lot of Paul Watson. I feel like he's gonna be like people are gonna be like, oh man, Paul Watson, another one from Toronto out of nowhere next year. And then Matt Thomas has shown some flashes in the playoffs. Very good shooter. So it's just these guys are all like could fit great next to Giannis, and then you don't even need to spend draft capital on them. It's like we pull these guys from anywhere, and then they
Exactly.
fit
Yeah.
great with you.
Exactly. Yeah.
So it's like it's not like the Bucks where they're just constricted with money and stuff like that. So it's like, yeah, we know how to build around you the right way. And it's
Mm-hmm.
like, so how about you do it? You can clearly trust us because of the track record. You won a championship without a lottery pick on the lineup. So it's
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
So why not? Let's just do it. It's better than Mavericks where you're the second option.
Okay, I was gonna go into next. So tell me why he shouldn't go to Dallas and he shouldn't go to Miami.
So okay, so I don't think Giannis is the type of guy that just says, I'm gonna just join Luca. I think he
Yeah,
wants to
yeah,
be.
yeah.
I think he knows the league is like it's either me or Luca's league.
Yeah,
And
because
he's
they're
so
the faces,
competitive.
right? Those are the
Yeah,
faces of the league.
and he's so competitive that he's not gonna team up with someone like that. I just
Mm-hmm.
think strictly like that. And then Miami. I mean, Miami is. I think Miami's more realistic than Mavericks. The Mavs. Uh, he has a relationship with Bam and stuff like that. But I feel like I don't know. I just don't see the fit. Like,
It's not really a good like I thought that
yeah,
too. Like Miami would be like that would be number one, but then you actually like you try to put it on the pieces and like they really wouldn't have shooting. Like you add Giannis and then now there's really not a lot of shooting, and it's like it clogs. There's gonna be a lot of clogging of the paint, and I'd be like, it sounds good. Like he, I'm sure Pat Riley is gonna go after him, but Toronto might be. It might be the best fit for him if it's not Milwaukee. Because listen, Milwaukee's gonna, the one thing that I think they're gonna have over everyone, all the other teams, is that they can give him the supermax, right? So they can give him between 220 and 250, and if any other team signs him, I think it's between 140 and like 160. That's a lot of money to turn down, like even for Giannis, who I'm sure he's doing well. Got his the Zoom freaks. He's got his own shoe, and I'm sure he's doing well endorsement wise. Still a lot of money to pass up on, So it's gonna be. I mean, but Toronto does, like I said, they got Masai who can definitely, he could definitely, pitch his way to try to get Giannis to come, and obviously, like you said, like they're getting guys who are undrafted guys like Fred and making them into great players. Kyle Lowry, we're not talking about high draft picks here, right? Pascal wasn't a high draft pick and all, and look at like they won a championship, right? So it'll be an interesting pick. Do you think there's a sleeper team? Do you think there's any sleeper team that Giannis could possibly?
Nah, I don't
It's
know.
between those.
It's either Bucks, Miami. I don't know. I don't want to hate on Miami too much. I think it's like it's pretty neck and neck. Like, I mean, with the fit, yeah, there's some concerns, but it's like at the end of the day, good basketball players know how to play basketball together. So it's like, it would work. I mean, like obviously it would work at the end of the day, but it's just not something. I don't know how comfortable he'd be playing like that. So, so I would just give Toronto that edge. But yeah, I don't think there's a sleep team. I think it's Bucks probably have like the biggest chance, obviously, because of the money. Unless they have like another failure, then I'm just like, yeah, he's gone. then Toronto, Miami, and then Mavericks. Yeah, that's it.
But I
I
could
don't
see
think
us.
the Warriors. My
Yeah,
bad.
that's
It's just a pipe
insane.
dream.
That's
Yeah,
a pipe
just
dream. But we thought Kevin Durant was a pipe dream too. So you never know. You never know what they could do because
yeah.
somehow they find money, right? It's crazy. They found money for Kevin Durant somehow and they got him. But I don't think that that's a possibility. But it's going to be interesting to see what Giannis does. And I wouldn't be surprised he takes the money and then a year after that he just said, and if they're still in the same spot where they're losing in the second round or they're just not getting to the finals, where he just like, all right, I'm out. You got to trade me. I could see something like that happen. So
Sorry.
because that, like I said, the money that's gonna be hard to turn down. But we've seen guys turn down money like that. LeBron's done it. KD did it. Turned down maxes like super maxes like that. So because at the end of the day, look at Giannis he's got 2 MVPs. He's got a defensive player of the year. But what's the one thing people are harping on him is, man, you don't got jewelry, right? You even got to a finals. So, I think that's something that he's going to consider is like, what is my legacy, right? At this point, nothing else matters because I have everything, right? So I think he's going to look at it next year, but Milwaukee's going to be in an interesting spot because they're going to have to figure out if they're going to have to trade for someone. Do they they got to try to trade for someone to make this work because whatever's working now, obviously it's not working, so they got to figure out who they can add, so it's gonna be interesting to see how they attack this offseason because they're in panic mode. They're definitely in panic mode, so it's going to be interesting to see what they do. It's going to be fun. All right. So before I let you go, I want to give you two quick questions. All right. So who's your Mount Rushmore of Canadian players? So give me your 4 best Canadian players that play in the league.
All right. Number 1, Steve Nash, obviously.
Of course, yeah.
Number 2, Shea.
He's gonna be so good. He's gonna be special.
Yeah, Shea's like top 3 favorite players in my, for me. Just the unique way of him, like his wiggle, the getting to the rim, like the side steps, like it's so unique. I just always look for unique things in basketball that players have, and I just love that. So,
and I think if they trade CP, he's gonna be an all-star next year. I think he's an all-star player because he's gonna have more freedom, and what he's learned from CP just in that 1 year. I mean, they had a good connection too. Like they were like big brother, little bro. So I think if they do deal CP3, I think he's gonna take off next year. He's gonna be an all-star for me.
Mm-hmm. And then let me see. Every time I think of Canadian players, Jamal Murray, number 3, obviously. And then it's tough because I watched RJ for such a long time, but it's like I don't want to say it. Sorry, Knicks fans are listening. It's just every time I look at RJ,
we're used to negativity in the Knicks world, so it's all good, bro.
Yeah, like I feel like I as a young kid, I just had a decent eye for scouting because I always just felt like, man, something's off about this. Like every time he like dominated, I was just like, man, it's just too stiff. Like, why is he always so stiff? And that was just my problem with it. Yeah. And then that has gotten worse in the league, like to me, and hopefully he fixes that. But that's why it's just like the play style, the like bully ball stuff. It's like I don't know, kind of. I love him as a person, but it's like the play style kind of turns me off. So that's why it's like I'm kind of lukewarm on him. So I'd probably have Brandon Clark over him as my last one because it's like even though he doesn't have like the crazy wingspan and measurements, he's still like a very fun player to watch and just a very smart player. So I'd have Brandon Clark as my 4th one.
Okay. So and I wanted to talk briefly about RJ too. Do you think that's his struggles was more him just trying to adapt to the league, or was it because he's on a team that just doesn't have a lot of talent around him and he would just, the spacing was just, it really wasn't there. I mean, they had no spacing in the Knicks. So do you think that's just something in his game that you just don't see that he can take it to the next level, or if the Knicks put the right pieces around him that he could flourish and be the player that, a lot of Knicks fans are hoping he can be?
The Knicks had like the worst spacing in the NBA, so
it was horrible. Trust me, I watched it every night. Unfortunately, it was bad. Like it was bad, especially with Julius Randle. When they had Julius Randle, Marcus Morris on the floor with like Elfrid Payton running the point, it was rough.
Yeah.
It's rough.
So, I mean, yeah, that's obviously gonna hurt him because he's a slasher. So,
Yeah,
can't
yeah.
really
We can't
slash
slash when there's
if
18 guys running
everyone's
for
just
you.
like
Yeah,
playing. It could basically play box and one defense.
yeah,
Like
yeah.
that's how bad it is. I mean, yeah, that's a factor, but it's also just him as like a player that he carried too much usage. I don't think he's like he was just asked to do too much,
Mm-hmm.
and that's just not his game. I just don't see the upside that people hope for him to be
Mm-hmm.
because it's like the creation for himself is not completely there, and then like he tries, but it's like it doesn't create to like good things for an offensive team, even though it could be great for himself sometimes, but it's just not great for a team. It's not something you want to live off as for a team perspective. So I see
Yeah.
him more as like a complementary player. That's why I want Fred VanVleet to go there so he can work on those skills instead
Mm-hmm.
of getting so much usage and then not like, if he the efficiency is going to be there if he has that much of a role, and then people are going to be like, man, this guy really sucks, and then it's like they just give up on him. It's like that's how you kind of set him up for failure. So he has to improve definitely on the jump shot, the
Yeah.
handle, just overall just being stiff. Like he's very stiff, like I said before. And tunnel vision too. Like I get that some of the like Julius Randle, Alfred Payne, they're kind of icing him out, but his response to that was not great either. Like he would ice them out back and just ice out like everyone on the team. It's like, okay, I need a drive, left hand drive to the rim right now, and it's like
Yeah.
there's three guys there and there's an open man in the corner, and it's annoying because he can make that pass too. So it's like,
Yeah, because he play make that Duke. We saw
yeah,
the playmaking at Duke, so that's why
yeah,
that was weird to not see that in no in the few games he played in the this year. So because the playmaking's there, especially when Zion got hurt, he was even a better playmaker. So it was interesting that he wasn't, he couldn't find that in the league. I know obviously it's different. You play in the pros, but still, something I think he should have been better at this year.
yeah. I mean, the passing is the why I think he's going to be a good complementary player. It's just I don't want him to be the one breaking down the defense. You know,
Yeah,
that's what
no,
I think. Like I
agreed.
think he works way better when someone else is like has like the focus around him, like a Duke, even though he was kind of more on the ball than Zion. It's just like
Mm-hmm.
he did kind of benefit off his gravity too.
Oh, of course, yeah, yeah. Cam Reddish too. Yeah, they, Trey Jones. They helped Trey Jones having the ball. It helped a lot too. So he benefited a lot from that. But then we saw in the league, when you don't have those guys around you, it's different.
Yeah,
And he definitely struggled for sure. But hopefully, he gets it together this year, and they put pieces around him to make him, be more successful because a lot. I think that he is the face of the Knicks right now, and they're banking on him to take them to that next step. And they're gonna have to put the right pieces around him to take that next step. And it's gonna be interesting to see how they do that, and if he can take that next jump. Right, we've seen a lot of guys take that jump from year one to year two, and be monsters. So it's gonna be interesting to see what he does, this season. But all right, so I'm gonna cap it off with one last question. All right, this might be the toughest one. Who is the greatest Toronto Raptor of all time?
I mean, Lowry, like,
Lowry.
yeah. Um, I mean, it's just I think it's an easy one because just a guy that's been there. When he got traded there, he just the franchise just flipped. It just changed. Just the whole culture changed. Someone's like someone that's just a clear cut leader, and even though he is like the best player on the floor, he still like would dive on the like he still does like things that a 12th man would do, to
Yeah,
get
yeah.
minutes. That's what he does.
Those hustle
And then,
plays, those
yeah.
just being in a nuisance, right? He's a nuisance too, right?
Yeah, yeah, and it trickles down. So it's
Yeah,
like he's like a nuisance, but he gets like 20 points a game. Like
yeah,
people don't understand that.
yeah,
It's
yeah.
like,
He just
you
can
know,
score,
yeah,
and do more. But yeah, he's definitely someone that can definitely. I know what watching him, I'm like, man, I can't stand him. But if he was on my team, woo, man. And then the Knicks almost could have had him too. But you know what? The
yeah,
Knicks do what the Knicks do. So we.
yeah. And it's
So
just how do I say it? Like his just how he just switches between roles and stuff like that. He just asks whatever the team wants to do. like in Game 7, okay, Kawhi don't really got it right now. I'm gonna go crazy in the first quarter and stuff like that.
Exactly. Yeah,
And it's
yeah,
like,
yeah.
like Siakam has it right now. I'm gonna just be a facilitator. I'm gonna get Ibaka's, pick and pop jumpers and stuff like that. It's just like, I mean, like, and he obviously won the championship, and he was like a big
A
reason why.
big part. He was a
Yeah,
big part. I
especially
mean,
that Game 7. Like people don't realize that Kawhi hadn't like he didn't have a great series,
no, yeah, he struggled.
but
Yeah.
like he was on one leg, like his
He
knee
was
was
hobbled.
really,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah, he was hobbled. But I'm just saying, like gotta give Lowry credit there too, because Kawhi wasn't just dominating. Like it wasn't the Philly series where Kawhi had like 35 and then
Mm,
everyone else had like zero. But
yeah.
yeah, so I mean, it's Kawhi. I mean, it's Lowry pretty easily. Then I mean, like you can say I don't know why you'd say Vince Carter didn't win anything, and then just the way he left was like pretty bad
I
too.
think because he was just really flashy. I
Yeah,
think the flash, the dunks, I think that's what captivated the Toronto. He was like their first big star.
yeah,
So I think that's why people. But when people say Vince, I'm like, he didn't win nothing there, like you
yeah. Like
said.
we
Like,
have higher standards now. You know what I'm saying?
yeah,
We won a championship.
yeah, that's that's for like other teams to like that's their best player of all time. Like
Hmm.
Kyle Lowry deserves to be, even you could even say DeRozan's ahead of Vince Carter.
Yeah, I would say that.
DeRozan did a lot of great things, for Toronto. He was a part of that, to bring them, back to being like now you're a perennial playoff team. And, you guys, even though, yeah, you had the struggles of not beating LeBron, but guess what? A lot of that's for a lot of the league, right? They have troubles beating LeBron. I mean, so
Yeah.
that's not something to be like, oh my God, you couldn't beat LeBron. Well, guess what? Most of the league can't beat LeBron James, so that's
Hmm.
not something to be like so upset about. But yeah, DeRozan's up there, what about Chris Bosh? You could put there.
A
He did
bit.
some great things,
Uh,
you
yeah.
know,
I
something,
don't know. Like he's
I
in
know,
like the
I
Vince
know.
Carter, Chris Bosh. Like they're in the same tier to me. I
Yeah.
think I would put Kawhi even higher than both of them. Just I mean, like even though it was 1 year, it's just like you gotta respect that he brought the chip there. You
Yeah.
know what I'm saying? Like
Shit.
if he, if,
Masai should be there. He's the one who,
yeah, yeah,
he's the one who make. I mean, just think about like you're having success, right? You're getting deep in the playoffs, and like that. People, a lot of teams would love that. Yeah, I would take that as a Knicks fan. I'll take being an 8 seed, let alone getting to the conference finals. And he had the vision to be like, this isn't enough. Like we have
yeah,
to take that next step. What do I do? And even if he thought, all right, let's take a chance. Even if he doesn't come back, right? And there was a big chance he was not going to come back. It was worth it. And you swung and you hit a freaking grand slam, right?
yeah,
And you won a championship. Yeah, he didn't come back, and you didn't get nothing for him. But it's like you won a championship. That's gonna last forever, right?
yeah.
That's gonna last forever. So what Kawhi did, was special. So I'm sure he's definitely high up there too because what he did. But like Masai too, Masai gets, I'm sure he eats free, in Toronto. I'm sure he
Yeah.
doesn't have to pay for a drink or anything there because what he's done has just been amazing. And that's he's that taking that chance is not a lot of GMs wouldn't have done that to take that risk, knowing that a guy might not come back the next season. But he took that chance and boy, it worked big time, right? Got you a championship, and now you're forever called champions. Kyle Lowry's gonna be a champion. That's great. So it's great things, and I'm sure they're gonna continue success for Toronto and all that. So good things are happening for Toronto. But Robel, man, this was a fun conversation. I appreciate you coming on the show, bro.
I appreciate you having me, man.
Yeah, this was fun, man. And before I let you go, just plug plug with your social media, whatever projects you got going on, your YouTube, do all that good stuff.
All right. If you want to follow me, you can at Robel Tussin, and my YouTube channel is called Sub Me In Coach. I make videos about NBA draft prospects currently right now, but I've made videos about NBA players and even high school players. So go subscribe. I'm trying to make a living out of it. I'm trying to help me make money. So
Yeah,
I mean,
right.
like I'm just playing. Just like watch my stuff. I think it's pretty good, and subscribe to the channel if you like it.
Yeah, and help them make some money, right? We got to make some money, right? It's tough times right here, right?
Yeah.
But like it's the make sure I'll post all the links below so my people can go check out your stuff. You do some great stuff, and like I said, Robel, this was fun. Rooting for you big time with all your success. Like I said, you got a nice little fan base on Twitter that love your work. So I'm sure you're gonna, you're young and you're gonna do some great things in this business. So I'm rooting for you big time, bro. And like I said, this was fun. So on that note, be safe out there. Be safe where you are, and take care. And that's it, man. Thanks for coming on the show. The show will be up in probably a day or two. So I'll have everything posted on my Twitter. You can find my Twitter on Off the Ball Pod. You could find it on all podcast platforms. So that'll be up. It'll also be up on my YouTube page. So you can also find it on Off the Ball Network, my network. So find that on there. And Robel, take care. Be safe, brother.
You too, man.